Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Internet Soup in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "I broke up with my BF and then my mom died. I don't want to be here anymore. Last year, my mom was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive cancer. We had hopes that she would survive. Towards the end of the year, I broke up with my boyfriend because he suddenly had a change of heart about wanting kids and didn't tell me for 8 months. I moved back home just before the holidays. At the beginning of this year, my mom's health began to spiral out of control. She got very sick quickly. The cancer had advanced too much and they gave her 6 months to live. Since then, she had been in and out of the hospital. She died on February 23rd in the afternoon, a day after my brother's birthday. A part of me died with her when she took her last breath. Watching her die was incredibly agonizing and traumatic. Not only did she die, but we were hit with more bad news right after. The gynecologist who initially denied her a hysterectomy, even though they had found a cancerous polyp before, is being investigated for unsanitary practices at her clinic, where my mom might have been exposed to bloodborne diseases. I don't want to get into too many details for legal reasons, but hearing this right after her death was devastating to say the least. It's been 3 weeks since she died, and a couple of days ago, my cousin died from cancer as well. I am beyond broken. I don't have a good support system as I don't have a good relationship with my family. I had an amazing relationship with my mom, my boyfriend, and his family. So losing my boyfriend has been incredibly hard for me. My ex says he'll be there for me, but when I try to ask to speak casually for comfort with no hidden intentions, he says he can't and that it hurts him too much. He and my mom were the only two people in my life who gave me such comfort, and now they're both gone. At this point, I don't even want anything in life. My mom was my best friend. I went to her for everything. Now she's gone and she can't help me through this. Everything I dreamed of included her and my ex. Those dreams have vanished. I don't want kids anymore for fear of getting or giving cancer to my children and having to put them through that. Nor do I want marriage or a relationship. I feel like everything I love is either abandoning me or dying, and I can't take it anymore. I just want to down a bottle of pills and go into eternal sleep. I'm not sure why I'm writing this. I don't know if I want someone to convince me to stay, even though there's not much left here for me, or if I just want someone to comfort me before I go. There's just too much pain here and I'm suffering. I thought I was strong, but I'm really weak and pathetic. Thank you to anyone who cared to listen to me. This next post was made in the relationship subreddit by a user named NextDoorFamily. The post is titled, "I unwittingly created a family with my neighbor and her son." 3 years ago, a woman named Cassie, 32F, and her son, Kenny, 13M, moved into the apartment next door. They had a few boxes, so I, 31M, figured I'd offer to help and get off to a good start. I noticed Kenny had a PS4, so I told him that I game as well and that he was free to come over and play my systems anytime he wanted, if his mother allowed it. I have a PS5, Switch, and PC as an FYI. Since I'm a mechanic, I told Cassie that if she had car trouble, she could come to me anytime, since I help out a lot of other people on the floor with their cars as well. She accepted. I didn't really interact with either Kenny or Cassie besides a few hays for a few weeks initially, but a little more than a month after moving in, Cassie knocked on my door and asked if I could check her car because the engine wasn't turning over. It turned out the spark plugs needed to be changed, which was easy enough to do. Cassie was very thankful for my help and offered to pay, but I told her it was no problem. She invited me to dinner with her and Kenny, and I was hesitant to accept, but she insisted. The next day, we had dinner, and it was a good time. I learned a lot about her and talked to Kenny more. He's a good kid, really into games, science, and his guitar. We even all went over to my place for some Mario Kart. From then on, I got really close to Kenny. I viewed him like a little brother. He came over to play my games almost every day, and I even started teaching him about cars. I've even brought him to my shop to introduce him to tools. He's a quick study, and he even told Cassie he wants to be a mechanic like me. I told him to aim higher and become an engineer. He's now even looking into engineering programs. I think Cassie really appreciated our relationship. She became a lot more friendly with me. I got COVID during lockdown, and out of the kindness of her heart, she brought me groceries, cleaned my apartment, and even took care of me. I was totally grateful. She even cooks dinner for me every night, and we all have dinner together. She even makes dinner for me when I work late and leaves it in my apartment. The other day, Kenny brought one of his friends over to his apartment. I met the friend and he said, "This is OP, he's like my dad." Not going to lie, that took me by surprise. I always viewed Kenny as my little brother, but here he is saying that I'm like a dad to him. I asked Cassie about this and she seemed surprised I even asked. She said that she would never force that role on me, but that he did view me as his father. He even hoped that Cassie and I would get together so that we could be a real family. Cassie then said she wouldn't mind that either. I asked her if she was asking me out. She just smiled and said yes. I was surprised but said, okay, we have a dinner date this weekend and I'm nervous as all hell. I don't want to ruin things with Cassie or Kenny. I really do love both of them, but I'm not sure how I feel about being the father figure for Kenny. It's a lot of responsibility and I'm not entirely sure I'm the guy for that. And Cassie, she's a really amazing woman. I just hope I can measure up to her expectations. Just asking Reddit, are my worries unfounded? Should I put some boundaries between me and Kenny? How do I not screw up with Cassie? Update. Hey all, thanks for all the nice comments on the first post. It's weird being complimented so much, but I guess I like it. So here are some things to clarify before the update. People were asking me if I'm actually attracted to Cassie, and the answer is yes. She's one of the strongest, nicest, most considerate people I know. She constantly puts others before herself, and I always wish that someone would put her first for once. And did I mention that Cassie is super pretty? I guess I just never thought she would find me attractive or be interested in me that way. Now, the update. I was nervous as hell all week leading up to the date on Saturday. During our usual family dinners, Cassie smiled at me a lot more. I don't think Kenny noticed since he was too busy playing on his phone. Cassie not so subtly suggested to Kenny that he go spend a weekend with his grandparents. He didn't really want to, but she pretty much pushed him out the door. LOL. On Saturday evening, I knocked on Cassie's door and she opened it wearing an absolutely beautiful dress. I broke the tension and asked if that dress was for me. She laughed and we went on our way. The evening was a little awkward at first, but when we were walking to the restaurant, she grabbed my hand and smiled at me, and it sort of got rid of the awkwardness. From there, the evening went amazingly. We talked, laughed, and had a great dinner. I asked her what made her change her mind about me, and she said it was the previous Christmas. For reference, Cassie is a hard-working single mom, and Kenny has all of his needs met and more, but she can't afford to get him the best, and it really hurts her that she can't. She really wanted to get him a PS5 since he was begging for one but couldn't justify the cost. Since I have disposable income, I hunted for months, checking stock drops until I finally got one. I then surprised Kenny with it on Christmas and told him it was from his mom. Cassie was shocked and even started crying. Kenny was so excited he didn't even notice her crying. All she could tell me was thank you repeatedly. Apparently, that made her realize that she wanted me in both of their lives forever. She tried to deny her feelings, but it didn't work. The conversation the other day was the opening she needed to finally confess how she felt. After dinner, we went back to her place for a nightcap. We talked a lot about relationship expectations and how we wanted to proceed. We agreed to be exclusive, to take it slow, and not to tell Kenny about anything until we're sure that this relationship is real and strong. We don't want to give him unrealistic expectations. She also said that her calling me his dad was too much too soon, and she apologized for it. She said it was wishful thinking on her part and probably would have weirded out most people. She said to accept any role with Kenny that I wanted, but she hoped that I would see Kenny as a son eventually. Sorry to disappoint everyone, but we didn't do the deed. We decided that it was much too soon. We did, however, have a buzzed makeout session at LOL. The following day, we went for brunch and decided to go apple picking. It felt damn good to be walking hand in hand with someone you care about and taking lots of pictures doing silly things. At our family dinner yesterday, Cassie sat close to me and was rubbing her foot on my leg. I don't think I've ever been more turned on in my life, ELOL. I'm not gonna lie guys, I think I'm falling for Cassie and falling hard. Well, anyway, I think that's it. We're together now, and hopefully this lasts. I don't think I want anyone else. Cassie is everything one could want in a partner, and I hope that I can be worthy of her. She's a really special person. Thanks, everyone. You're all so kind. 1.5 years later, OP gave us his most recent update. Okay, I'm in the break room at work, grinning like an idiot, and I don't know what to do with my hands, so I'm typing this out to get rid of all this nervous energy. I work as a mechanic, and my boss called me over to the office. I thought I had messed up somehow, but he had a big bouquet of roses on his desk. He told me, "This is for you." I was like, what the fuck? But I read the card attached, and it said, "Just because, love GF." My boss laughed at me and told me I had a good one and to not mess it up. He did say he'd have to give me shit for it, but he's happy for me. Sure enough, the boys on the floor ripped me to shreds once they heard about it, but I didn't care. I was floating. Now I'm on my break and I can't stop thinking about how much this completely caught me off guard. Can someone please talk me down from going out to buy her a ring after work? Edit. Hey everyone, I'm finally off work and I'm still really flustered, but I think I've calmed down. I don't think I'm gonna get her a ring today, but I have to do something. The problem is I don't know what. She deserves absolutely everything, but I can't think of anything that would equal this. I do have an idea of taking her on a last-minute romantic getaway this weekend. Also, to everyone asking, yes, the woman in my story is Cassie from my previous posts. A deleted user said, "That felt good to read. Everyone involved is awesome and deserves the best." BG555 said, "Most of the sappy stuff on Reddit is nonsense, but this one legitimately made me teary. OP, you are awesome and have found yourself in an amazing situation because you, Cassie, and the kid are amazing people." This third post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Belganona. The post is titled, "I hate my ex that is living with my parents. At the start of this year, I, 29F, was stalked and harassed by a woman who believed I was having an affair with her husband. It was over a month of daily harassment via phone, social media, and at times even in public. She even threw a stone through my window and vandalized my car in my driveway. She was caught on security camera and charges were brought against her. I had to spend a lot on lawyers to threaten legal action against both the husband and wife to get her to back off. She was having some sort of mental breakdown and was placed on a psychiatric hold. Her medication helped and she agreed to stop and accepted that I wasn't involved. As part of our legal agreement, she made social media posts apologizing and clearing my name, and provided some financial compensation for the damages caused. During all this, my fiance, 32M, was of no help at all. We lived together and he wouldn't do anything to support me. When I was accosted in public places, he would simply leave. When our condo was attacked, he got in his car and left to stay with a friend. He said it was too embarrassing for him to stay around. He didn't seem to realize that I was scared and felt my life was in danger. He knew I was innocent in this, yet he didn't stop his friends and family from believing the worst about me and making snide comments. I begged him to help me, and he acted frustrated as if there was nothing he could do. When the woman harassing me made the apology post, I forwarded them everywhere, explaining how I got caught up in someone else's tragedy, and I called my fiancé a coward for his behavior. This was also my way of publicly breaking up with him. My parents were very supportive throughout this mess and gave me money for the lawyer's retainer, but they didn't like my public message to my ex. They said it was petty and asked me to be nicer and not break up. I eventually removed his name from my posts, but I was no longer interested in any relationship with him. After this all went away, I was still pretty traumatized and paranoid. I quit my job and couldn't stand living with my ex. My best friend lived a few states away and invited me to stay with her as a change of scenery. It was the break I needed. I also found a great job there while visiting and decided to settle in that town. I've been living there since then. I have booked tickets to visit my family for Christmas, and last night my mother told me that my ex is staying with them as a house guest. My mother said he wasn't doing well after I left and my parents let him move in with them. I don't want to see my ex, and I'm pretty hurt that my parents are taking care of this man who did not stand by me. Would I be the asshole if I tell my parents I'm not visiting as long as he's in their home? Update. I deleted my previous post on AITA because it mentioned violence, but there was no violence in it. I had mentioned harassment and vandalism, but no violence actually happened. I logged in to update the post but couldn't do it on AITA, so I'm writing here for the people who have been messaging me. I didn't go home for Christmas. I called my parents and told them I wasn't coming, which set off a lot of recrimination and arguing. My mom got upset at me for my coldness, and my dad reprimanded me for breaking mom's heart. Mom is trying to get me back together with my ex. Dad goes along with whatever mom wants. I asked them why they'd want me to be with someone who didn't protect me, and mom said if the stalker had been a man, he'd have protected me, but since it was just a woman, a lady from a good home, there wasn't any real danger. This was news to me because when it was happening, both were worried about my safety, but now they are downplaying it. This is exactly the argument my ex used, and they are buying into his story. Then mom went on about how this was embarrassing for my ex and said I wronged him by putting him in this situation. This brought up a long history of mom's disappointment in me. I was never what she wanted me to be. I know she loves me and thought our differences were the typical mother-daughter conflicts that everyone has, but my mom has fears that run deeper than that. She is a slim, svelte, and pretty woman who is very particular about manners and appearances. I got my build from my dad's side of the family, and I am very curvy with large breasts. My weight and figure have been a cause for concern for my mom, who pressured me to cover up and downplay it. She wanted me to go into teaching or medicine, but I didn't do well enough in school for that. I ended up forming a career in sales, and I am very good at it. I was making good money at a large corporation, and while I dressed modestly, I no longer wore baggy clothes but professional suits with a good fit. The fact that I look like I do and that I do sales was scandalous to my mother. The man whose affair brought problems into my life is a manager in the same company I used to work for. We worked on the same floor in different departments. I think he let me take the fall because knowing who he was having the affair with would have put his job in jeopardy and would have been a lot more scandalous. My mother thinks the wife putting the blame on me was inevitable because I have the look. She believes her fears about my appearance and career came true in this incident. She is horrified that instead of learning from my mistakes, I now have a job as a client relationship manager. Even though it is at a financial firm, she feels pressured to force me to come home, get married, and leave my career behind. I am so sad about how all this has turned out. My relationship ended, and now I am losing my parents. Meanwhile, that cheating man and his psycho wife are still married, and he still has the same job. BR Sox said, "Your parents have chosen poorly." Dutch Winchester said, "Damn, that's sad all around." You would think your mom would be happy for her successful daughter. I can't, for the life of me, imagine ever treating my daughters like that, or taking in an ex who miserably failed to protect my daughter. Fuck that. Maywell Flower said, "I would disown them and neither invite them to the wedding nor let them know they have grandchildren because OP's parents are literally siding with the ex who didn't protect or care about OP and the stalker, plus the root cause of the harassment, the former coworker who purposely set it up to get OP hurt. Watch that trash beg OP to financially support and be their caretaker when the ex leaves them high and dry when the going gets tough, just like he did to OP." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersubs. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.